leadership, situational leadership, and we have 5 levels of different leadership. There are many models. But all of these models could not help or address the current pandemic or the business models and the way people or the leaders have actually approached the entire framework.
Right.
Do you think it's a time that we need to relook into our models and come out with a new model, or these 5 S's or any specific dimensions would help in facing such things in the future and be ready? Now, one is risk taking. So we have to stop, think, review it. Now, is this that time where we need to probably relook at entire leadership, and what things should we consider in building a purposeful leadership?
I love this question, purposeful leadership. First, I'd like to compliment you because right in the beginning, as this conversation started, there was a point where you used the word success and then you became cautious and said, may not be success the right word. I love that caution, number one. So that's one about, what does a leader really do? A leadership can be success-oriented, a leadership can be growth-oriented, and a leadership can be evolution-oriented. Then we need to know the difference between these three. Leadership focused on success is transactional and at best above transactional. So I make effort and I need to have a result. And if the effort fulfills, the kind of expectation I have, I'm successful. Excellent. So that's transactional and, kind of situational. Growth, again, can be unidimensional. Growth can be, therefore, in the objective world, I'm achieving numbers. In the evaluative criteria, I'm doing very well. Compared to the previous years, I'm doing better now. Therefore, I'm growing. I think the third dimension is very important, which is evolutionary. Now, evolutionary is when I'm not only going better in terms of numbers, I'm also shifting orbits and going to a different level of looking at things. I think this orbit shift is very important. And the orbit shift makes you, let's say, from a team player into a functional player, from a functional player into an organizational player, from an organizational player into a sectoral player, from a sectoral player to an industry player, from an industry player into a social system player, from a social system player into a global outlook player. That is evolution. And not just the leader, he needs to bring this perspective to his followers too. Look at Aziz Premji, he's an evolutionary leader. Look at Ratan Tata or JRD for that matter, evolutionary leaders. I mean, to them, yes, industries, businesses, their successes were there. But then says, what difference does this bring to the society? I think awesome kind of evolutionary leadership. And then I think this evolutionary concept needs to be understood. And therefore, encouraging both your own mind and the mind of your, kind of followers. I think that is the biggest job of the leaders. Therefore, leader, the first and foremost definition of leader that I would talk about is the one who shows the way. In Tamil, the best meaning for the word leader is Vadigati, the one who shows the pathway. All right, so this evolutionary pathway, sure, I think to me, that is the leader. So how does he do that? Now comes the important question, in terms of various models and all that. Yeah, you're right. There are very many intellectual models. But there is one model, not even model, a concept that I believe in. And I think, you asked a question about belief earlier. It's not belief, it's so much such a foundational reality of existence. And that I use this word called, very consciously a trans, and I'm saying form. If you want to really understand transformational leadership, the ability to go beyond the form is the most important thing. Unless, transatlantic, going beyond the Atlantic, transport, going beyond one port, transform, going beyond the current form. So it says, can you go beyond the objective reality? All right. So this transformation leadership model, and at some point of time, I would like to dive deeper on that with you, is based on 4 anchors. And the 4 anchors are, number 1, proactivity, number 2, sensitivity, number 3, principle-centeredness, and number 4, surplus mentality.
Okay.
Okay, and this model therefore works based on these 4 foundations. And as a result of that, high on proactivity and high on sensitivity creates the transformational leader and the institution builder. High on surplus mentality, high on principle centeredness creates the investor and the creator of possibilities. All right. So it's a very interesting kind of model. I think we need to have transformational leadership model of a very significant dynamic nature, where it is really multidimensional. It cannot be unilaterally evaluation oriented, objective oriented kind of, then it becomes unidimensional.
Right.
It becomes multi. What is the difference between evaluation and something else? Very simple. You can either be evaluating or you could be engaging, period. That's it. Engagement calls for dropping evaluation. You engage because you believe something is very important. Engagement is that you commit to the welfare relationship. Typically, when we get engagement before a marriage, it means what we are talking about is now you're committed to each other without a barrier. When you engage a gear in a car or a vehicle, which means you're putting into a slot where it is getting now hooked onto, it cannot be separated. Engagement is the willingness to completely integrate with the other. And therefore, I'm saying the human engagement needs to match the human evaluation trip that we have related to the objective reality. And that I'm saying, these leaders, evolutionary leaders, so transformational leaders with that evolutionary perspective are the leaders required for us at all the levels. You will find them at shop floor supervisory level, I can tell you, Venkat. And you will miss them at managing directors level.